And then the one night that we had off from stretching, sandbagging spot monkeys, I was setting this Mark's shorts on fire. Can you believe that? It was ridiculous.
I gotta get that DVD, man. That shit sounds hilarious, bro. I heard they were doing shots. One guy was putting a dildo in his mouth. Oh man!
What a Mizark, man. You know, kayfabe.
Oh man! Oh, hey, I guess we're live on air here. Good Briz. So K-Fizz on all that shiz because it's 6 o'clock TV hour. Donkey Kong 4-inch hour. Slash and burn return. Listen to yourself churn, infidels, and we're gonna churn it up here on the Impact Attack today with Good Brother story time with Good Briz Tiz, and he's not wearing any pink shorts today to take the show home. Thankfully, he might not be wearing any shorts, pal. I like that. Yeah, we're all gonna be demoralized by the time this one's over here on your Impact Attack at hackerhamin.podbean.com. YOLO. Good morning to you, infidels. Ron Booth first in the chat at youtube.com. Ben Hamin, Hulky Gaming, also in the house there at YouTube, and I'm sure twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horseman's going to load up real quick here as the signal flare goes up, and he's batting. He's better than ever. Look at him, man. He doesn't give a shit. He got the big Pizze day. He had the Good Brother finish. He's already got the bags packed, and the young boys are taking him down the road. Infidels, he doesn't even have to have any gas money this time around. It's the Good Briz. He's clinking them up. Good Briz Tiz. How's it going this morning, brother?
You know, someone had to come in here and carry the curtain jerkers. So, you know, it's not the first time I've done it, you know, here on the of course, on the A show. I would never be seen on the B show or the C show, but here on the Impact Attack, we know how to do things. The natural villain here in the Impact locker room. Boys, listen, we'll call it all in the ring, and it's going to be okay.
What are we going to do tonight out there?
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. We're definitely not taking bumps. And high spots, forget it.
We ain't going to do shit tonight out here. I look forward to it, man. We'll take the night off. Let those kids do all the dives he wants to because he's balls out to the walls out so you can suck his balls. There's no pink shorts in his game. It's only heels over strong. It's the one true MSG, infidels. Y'all.
Well, I'm happy to be back here, ladies and gentlemen. Impact Attack. A Good Brother Ted. I mean, he's just a dapper, sexy looking man at the moment. Like, I could see why his wife married him, locked him down. You know what I mean? I'm just like, man, this is a good looking guy. He should be on a poster for like a fucking, like, I don't know, outdoor company or some sort of like,
or else
brand of a jacket or something.
Yeah. What's the trendy store in the cities where it's all like outdoor gear that they want to try and sell you, but you're just going to wear them on the streets? He's that kind of cool today, but I told him the same thing. He looks great in the Good Briz get up over here. He should keep that shit.
All right.
Well, you know, call a Good Brother up as long as the royalty checks come in, brother.
That's right. You're a merch machine, man. And MSG, if you're watching live here at twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horseman or on my YouTube Ben Hamin channel, you can see he's got the heels over strong shirt out now. Me and Trump doing it real big out there. So piss everybody off if you want to get a reaction where they're like, "Ooh, Trump," and then they see even me as a worse next to him. Then he's not as bad anymore, is he? So. Good looking out there, and it's a white shirt, and we know good guys wear white, and they do not like that when it crosses their psychology. So having fun with it real big here, you guys. Tonight's Conspiracy Horseman is going to be, I think, pretty massive. New big CERN news going around, and as well as big.
Yeah, I want to know about that. That's the Hadron Collider, right?
Yes, they are firing it up in full capacity right now to where it's never been before, and they said they expect possibly within the week to be able to break through into a new multiverse and connect our universe and that. And that, I mean, dude, you're talking opening a mini black hole is what they're doing.
I'm excited to hear about this. I don't know if you knew this. Actually, here in Louisville, Kentucky, where my alma mater, Bellarmine University, is one of the few universities that was collecting data for CERN over the years and just kind of helping to just because literally it's so much data they have to aggregate that they would delegate it to different universities to sift through all the data to help them, I guess, figure out the next way they wanted to run it. So no, this has been a long time coming. So I'm excited to see what happens, even though it might be the end of existence as we know it. They might cross the proverbial streams, but I don't think it's going to happen. But I do think this is going to open up a world of possibilities as far as, is there a way to open up a wormhole into another dimension or something like that? I'm not saying that we're going to get that necessarily right now, but we're getting closer and closer to it with every passing day.
Everything else they put over for Higgs boson, the God particle, and finding dark matter, supposedly they've done it and found it. I think this is alien-inspired technology, the massive scale about it. If you haven't checked out CERN, do it. I cut a huge promo on Patreon with Russo, scooping him to it. And last night, 11:40 at night, he's like, bro, why are you sending me these things? I can't sleep. And he's up looking at Simpsons predictions and shit like that. So should be a great time tonight with that. And then also, it's getting flagged as fake news, shockingly, on Facebook. Yeah. The SGT report last night released a huge blockbuster half-hour piece where a guy who looks like was part of my team, he was actually the leader of my CIA team. Go ahead.
You're breaking up.
I was breaking up.
Yeah. A little bit.
Of course, when I started talking about the CIA and Obama.
Right. Scramble it.
Am I good now? I'm okay.
You're good now.
Okay. Supposedly he has tapes, firsthand knowledge, and the whole Stooge report has been handed off and dropped even to senators, incriminating Hillary Clinton, the whole CIA, Brennan, all those guys, in covering up not just Benghazi, but massive Osama bin Laden details, the $162 billion payoff that Obama gave to Iran was actually hush money because they had bin Laden. They had moved him to Pakistan and then moved him back to Iran, which goes against Nazir Bhutto's, was that her name? I can't remember, thing that said he died in 2002, or did the real bin Laden die in 2002? And this was the body double to keep shifting it back and forth. And then Clinton and the others supposedly manufactured the SEAL Team 6 takedown. And then it wasn't shortly after that half of SEAL Team 6 was wiped out in a very strange helicopter attack, turkey shoot, where they were against all protocols. I know SEAL Team 6 doesn't fly in Chinooks, and the way they fly, they keep them separated. This went against everything that is the basic protocol of it. They usually fly Blackhawks in and out, super fast strikes and things like that. So it was kind of like a turkey shoot. And it's going to be an interesting conspiracy horseman. I'll tell you that much right now. I don't know if Stevie will be with us. He had some family stuff at the last minute. But man, there are some big stories to take a look at this week.
If I could comment, I was going to pitch one of the another story, like to tie it into the black hole stuff, because there's just so much going on right now. I know it's hard to cover it all from a conspiracy horseman frame. I think you should do a bonus show, or you should do a second show where it's just based only on aliens and UFOs, because I feel like there's a lot of untalked about stories that no one's really getting, like that Australia story with the missing girl. Like, people have been messaging us on Instagram for you guys to cover that show.
Yeah, not just to monetize it. I like to keep media free. Everybody knows that's my MO, and we've been sitting on
pitching a show. That's all.
I'm with you, and I think this is great. And not to go, we've got great conspiracy stuff here with Crow 777, our stuff, the Infinite Fringe, obviously, and anything PW Hustle or Billy Ray has his hands in is phenomenal. But the Patreon's going to be launching soon, and I'll stooge it. Fingers crossed everything goes well tomorrow with them, but I'm going to be taping the first episode of Hustler Rip Rogers Learning Tree podcast, and that's going to be Patreon exclusive. What you're talking about sounds like a great show. Watch alongs, the marketing stuff. If you love it, we're doing some consulting with some fans who have their own businesses, and that's awesome. I'm super pumped to have Hamin Media branch out into that avenue. But there in this week's Raw and SmackDown review on russosbrand.com, I break down the reality of what Stephanie McMahon has done as a chief marketing officer, working with Ad Age magazine and pushing narratives, and how the women's revolution was monetized. And now we're back to good old tits and asses. You saw in the draft, because she had them gimmicks out, and they're shooting Mandy Rose with full early morning dew, full thigh. You know what I mean? And I'm down with that. Sex sells. Sex always will outsell everything, and more than a social movement will. But these marketing trenders push that kind of stuff throughout, and that's why we got a lot of that, and they were smart to do it. But at the end of the day, I don't think it reaped nearly the whirlwind that some big old fake gimmicks and a nice slice of cake will yield for ratings. And ratings were up this week on Raw. And was it because of Stephanie's second segment where she came out with her gimmicks out pretty much, and then was going to do 4 more? Did guys stick around because they knew there was going to be 3 to 4 more Stephanie McMahon segments with a huge rack coming out, like a fucking 12-point that I'm hoping to shoot this weekend? So it's going to be it's a great Russo's Brand episode, a great obviously Master Shoot Theater. We had tons of laughs and a lot of the hardcore CERN talk. I lay it all out for Vince. So 2 shows that you guys do not want to miss.
Well, guys, also check out the brand new 5-pound bag of Russo Bro coffee from thebrosters.com. It's fabulous. I saw Vince Russo even drinking his own coffee live on Twitch last night. So it's even certified by the guy, and he puts over that he thinks it's just the best coffee he's ever drinking of all time. And that guy's a coffee drinker. Come on, bro.
Well, I'll say second. The best coffee I've ever had is Blue Mountain Coffee in Jamaica, but that's $50 a pound. So this is only about 15.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, dude, Blue Mountain Coffee is fucking pricey, bro. It's no joke, but I think it's the best coffee I've ever had on the planet for sure. But yeah, man, this is something we've been working on for a while, so we're glad to bring it to you right before the holidays. Makes a great gift. It's really $75 for the 5 pounds, and then so you're getting an extra pound free. But then it's $15 for shipping and handling for drop ship just because of the weight of it. I'm sending you a 5-pound like a dumbbell pretty much. So you're going to be all set for COVID outbreak too. You don't got to go to the store and go, shit, we're out of coffee on this little bag. You're going to have the big Hamin fat sack ready to go, you guys. So really pumped about that. Saw some good ZordosOliveOil.com sales as well. So if you want them to taste your holiday cooking and say, man, this is the best you've ever made, it's probably going to be that little extra kick up from ultra premium grade Zordos olive oil, you guys. So we appreciate all that kind of shit you got going down.
Yeah, guys, of course, as you mentioned, Zordos olive oil. And you can check out the Wednesday Locker Room, which is out on hackerhamin.podbean.com for your Monday Night Raw review.
I love the camaraderie. I mean, I love working with you 3 on the shows. Stevie's a whole different thing. Me, Stevie, and Vince. RBV. The switch ups are great, but I like to kick back and hear other guys gel together. And that Wednesday Locker Room was Strangler Steve, Bello, and Billy the Kid is, I always get a lot of enjoyment because I'm on almost every other show. So that's the time for me to disconnect and watch the boys do their thing. And they are great with that. I love the Monday morning monologue. I love the character work that Dr. Ted brings on here. That's dedication to entertainment in our audience, man. I don't ask him to do any of that shit. He does it all because he loves to entertain like I do. And those guys, a young boy of Bello, the political one, the conspiracy Spanish god in Billy Ray, and the old grizzled vet of Strangler Steve, who's done every fucking job in this business, coming together and being friends like that. I don't give a fuck about listening to the wrestling. I like to listen to them interact, man. That Wednesday Locker Room shows something special, and I'm very happy that during the middle of the week, we've got such a strong post, fence post in there to lean on, man. It's really good.
Well, the first topic I have here, I probably would have saved this for an AEW show, but unfortunately my schedule's not allowing me to work the Light the Fuse podcast right now. But you can still listen to it with Ben Hamin and Chris Silvio, as I'll be back eventually at some point. But this is a good story I wanted to start off with. Britt Baker to AEW fans, please don't change the channel when women are on TV. So AEW Britt Baker believes that the AEW women's division needs to grow, and the new wrestling company needs help from their audience. When addressing the criticism faced by the female division, Baker said, I know there are plans to grow the women's division, but at the same time, we need help from the fans at home too. We can't have the women's segments be the lowest rated or the lowest views on YouTube each week, because at the end of the day, it's business and AEW needs ratings. She continued, it's no secret we're in a war every Wednesday night with NXT, so we need the ratings up. So the fans that are encouraging and saying, we want more women, that's great. But please don't turn the channel when the women are on TV then. We want everybody to be watching the segments and cheering us on from home. Then there's more copy and stuff like that. Then I'll start with you.
Billy Ray Valentine, who just joined the chat as well. Glad he got in late and didn't hear me just putting him over, because that would I'm glad.
Right, Billy. By the way, I'm glad Billy Ray Valentine is here. As I've stated before, Chris Silvio, less sex god, you are less sex messiah. Please move forward with that. Now that you've gotten the memo. Thank you. Have a good day.
Everybody's doing great work over there on the Wednesday locker room, as I put over, man. And I'm super pumped to listen to the rest of the show. I just got the beginning part of it in this morning while I was getting ready to do all this, man. But super producer Billy Ray Valentine, you guys, Obi-Wan, you know me on Twitter, and King of Kayfabe, and also a guy pretty close to completing his next level up of education. And I can't wait to see where this motherfucker takes it in life. Absolutely, it's going to be phenomenal. Off of what you were just saying, what was it?
Please don't change the channel when women are on TV.
So maybe not. I mean, a bad look, but not the wrong thing to do, because their fan base of loyalists who team never touched a titty club, they will respond to that to get the feminism pussy hat stuff over with and show that they are woke and they are in it for the women no matter what. On the other hand, my response to that is get better, stop sucking, and learn how to work, and people won't turn the channel. They're not going, oh, sexy girls, let's turn the channel. That's not what's happening. It's when a girl sits down and puts her hands up like this for you to put a full Nelson on her, and then puts it down, and it looks like we're at month 2 of wrestling practice. Meanwhile, it says all elite on the wall. And there's nothing elite about that. It's business exposing bad. And the other part of that is guys who want to watch wrestling are mainly going to be heterosexual, male, testosterone driven dudes, or guys who can't attain that type of chick. So when you march out Sunny Kiss and booty shorts and Nyla Rose and trying to confuse sexuality, you've already taken the women's sexuality and stepped it down a notch that way, because now we have a confusing message, because you can't stop staring at Sunny Kiss's ass. I've been in the locker room with him, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, that thing is ridiculous. Put it away, please. And like, it makes you feel like, and that's what they want to do. That's what this whole transgender movement, blurring the lines, wants you to do sexuality wise, to appreciate an effeminate gay man for the sexuality that you feel towards a woman. And now we're in some weird confused message in our head, right? Like, I know I'm not that, I don't want to, but I can't, you're force feeding me that. Turn the all that equals turn the fucking channel, bro. I'm not trying to put a message on Sunny Kiss. I'm not trying to say what you like, what you don't like. You might have thought you were straight. That might bring you out. But if we're talking demographics, demo god shit, you don't appeal to a tiny sliver to get over a social justice message. You want sexy? You do sexy with the girls who are sexy on your roster. And you got them. You got, what's the chick who's getting married? Penelope Cruz. Boom. She's
Ford,
hot.
I think Ford.
Ford, yeah. Penelope Ford. Then you got the chick in the Dark Order. She's hot. Serena's hot. Yeah. Britt Baker's hot. Rebel's hot. And then you can have your and whatever, Sheeta and them are pretty girls too. And Big Swole's an athletic looking alpha female herself. So
yeah, I think she's hot.
Matlander too. Yeah. None of them aren't hard on the eyes, but not everybody has to play sexy. You got Big Swole. You got Serena, you got Stratlander, who they're going to deliver your wrestling if the wrestling is quality. And that's the main reason. I mean, Serena's going to give you a great match, no matter what. But I think the real reason you hire Serena Deeb coming off of NXT coaching is to take these green girls and put their arms up, like hands up, don't shoot, while somebody throws a full Nelson on them and send them working it. And really saying, we gotta kayfabe all this, and this is how you work, and we're not going to do New Japan wrong style spots. I saw the thing last week, was Sheeta or somebody said there, no, it was Thunder Rosa, who can work. She said, I gotta admit, I was fangirling and marking out while Kenny Omega was aging in our match. And I'm just like, bro, you can't say that kind of shit to the sheets and not look like a total mark. And then Omega is booking New Japan stuff that's getting girls hurt, that's killing the psychology of wrestling, and just makes women want to wrestle like Japanese strong style men. And that's not their spot on the show. So then again, we're confusing the message of what it is to be the women's feature, and are the women placed in the right spot so people don't tune out and don't turn the channel. All of these things are the real problem. And a tweet saying, please don't, and look in mealy mouth is not going to fix it. There are true solutions and true abilities in booking the card the right way to make the women's segment one of the strongest that there possibly is in AEW. But until they really have Serena be the locker room leader and cut down on the bullshit in some of these matches and opportunities where footwork is rotten going into finishes, I don't want
anything. They should make her a producer as well. I don't believe she is, but that would something that would be a huge benefit, because she's someone that can wrestle to the level of the guys.
Yes.
Because she learned how to work that intensely and be able to bring the women up versus putting them in situations where they're clearly exposed.
The value in hiring Serena is getting great matches for TV. Like I look at Dean Malenko and Jericho and how they got over. Serena's Dean Malenko, and you put in Britt Baker's Jericho or anybody else with a big, reaction type thing. That's where it is. And Khan is a huge WCW mark. He knows it all. The guy is very meticulous about it, because he's been using stuff that was pretty random from WCW on his own show, putting his people in there. But the true value in Serena is letting her clean up this Japanese wrong style. If Omega's got to take a seat and focus on himself, that's fine, dude. Omega's a fucking star. But look at how marginalized he is right now. He should be one of their top 3 guys, and he's not even in the top 5 conversation, really. So,
yeah, but he's still an executive too, though, right? He's still trying to make company decisions, and that's where it comes down to either you're a talent or you're the office. And
right.
Those are two different things. It's because it's hard, because it is when you're office, it's hard to say, well, I'm going to put myself in the main event, where he should be in these big situations. But I can see, it's a double-edged sword. It's like, okay, you're putting yourself in the main event truly because you deserve to be there, or is it because you're playing politics? And it's a hard line. I think personally, as talented as he is, he should take a step back, have that role available. If he does want to step out from the ring for a little bit, or for a long period, that doesn't matter. But I'd say as long as he's an active member of the roster, say, hey, I'm going to hang up my executive hat and you all just book me as you feel I should be booked. And I think that would actually be helpful for all parties, because he would probably be put in a better spot and doesn't have the double-edged sword of being, he's just booking himself because he's off.
Everybody knows they're married. Everybody who's an indie fan who knows Pepper and Cherry knows the long story, knows the Impact story, the Laurel Van Ness stuff. And now you bring them in together, but you're going to split her off and put it with QT Marshall. Like, it's decisions like that where Impact's going to Impact and AEW's going to AEW. Like, there's no big brother over there because Pepper's smart. He's not going to stand up and go, dude, should my wife go with QT Marshall and I don't have any heat with that? What's that about? Why are we doing, like, everybody's going to get their paycheck. There needs to be a big brother pinch on the arm that says, this is the wrong move, dude. But instead they make those moves. And Cherry can work too. But she's also the eye candy. So if you got Serena versus Statlander, there's your match. Then if you've got something that's cat fight with Penelope and Allie, dude, that's what's going to keep people tuned in, not mealy mouthing. They're not going, oh, you just don't believe in girls, so you're turning out. That's what it comes down as. No, we don't believe in quality of work. We want to see competent, sexy women doing quality wrestling. That's what we want to see. So deliver on that, and the channel won't be changed. That's the only message you got to take away from it.
And to that point, I feel like at the very least the wording and the verbiage of that tweet should have been changed, because it just came across as desperate, and you never want that. Desperation sounds like you're trying to get me to come to your school play that no one wants to see.
And from her,
you know what I mean?
Top heel too, the
Right.
character one. It should be more of, you idiots tuned out during the best time on AEW, Dr.
Right.
Baker time. Well, then if you're going to miss it this week, you're going to miss something real big. So keep not watching, and you're not going to be one of the cool kids like us. Like, that's
Right.
your statement, not fucking, you guys,
Please.
Dad, will you watch me do this dive? In the pool. Dad, you watching? You watching, Dad? Mom? Yeah, like, dude, that is the wrong look, man. Marketing for sure. And to be honest with you, Britt Baker's at the top of the food chain in the women's division, right?
Yeah.
Because she doesn't have a belt, but her character outshines everything. And that's how you protect it. Oof.
It's not a good look.
Yeah.
Well, before we get to our next, before we get to our next story here, that's actually a good segue here about United Wrestling Federation, UWN. They have just announced an 8-man tournament to crown their first ever World Heavyweight Champion, and Greek God Papadon was victorious on prime time. So go tag him. I've actually seen a couple of you already done that.
New champ at UWN.
Yeah, they're brand new champion. It's a brand new belt. Right. Prime time, world breaking. It was last night. Looks pretty nice belt.
Probably only took him 2 days to politic for that. That's awesome.
But yeah, shout out to Bobo and Joshua Citizen Slim, who've already tagged Papadon there right on
Let
it.
me bury myself and Papadon and put us both over at the same time. And I want to get Beast's thoughts on this because this is interesting. Who are belts for, man, Beast?
Well, I just feel like it's a trick question. It's really for the fans.
Well, no, it's a rip question.
Okay.
Belts are for guys who can't get over with character.
Yeah.
I stick to that. Then there's the other side where Strangler Steve has great points on belts are for the draw and for the guy that you want to get over and put it on. But I say Britt Baker's more over as a character than she ever will be as the champion.
Yeah, she doesn't need the championship.
Exactly. So
Yeah,
belts,
I'm with you on that.
belts are a prop in some respect. Now here's the other side of that on the indies as a worker. I can get over with character and do next to nothing because I suck at wrestling, and that I'm better than I used to be. I'll put it that way. I can get over with my heat, and so can GGP. He don't need no belt. But GGP is a fucking 20-year vet, worker, politicker, and he knows that if he gets the belt on him, not only does that mean more payday, more merch money and whatnot, but now you have multiple bookings coming back, and it's not just a one-off. So who's the smarter one as the worker? GGP. He makes more than me. He gets booked more than me, and he politics himself shamelessly sometimes. That's the burial. I love the guy, but that's how he is. It's GGP. He don't give a fuck. To get over and become the champion. I've seen him convince 2 promoters to do that. I got him in the shows. He convinces them to be champ, and now he's booked 2 more times. And that is a fucking smart worker, dude. It might seem like a little carny for the boys, but he don't give a fuck. He's got 4 kids to fucking feed. What's he care about belts for guys who don't get over with character? I'm here to get fucking booked, bro. And when he does, he's got all the goods to back it up. He's not going to come in and politic and give you a shit champ run. He's going to be a big heel. He's going to make a baby face. He's going to look good doing it. He's in great shape. He'll cut great promos, get the crowd fucking hyped up, call somebody a motherfucker, get heat on me for letting him swear in the ring, like all that kind of shit. That's what he does. I love him for it. I wouldn't change a thing about it, but that's an interesting where I say one thing and I'm right, and the application on the other side is right. And then what he does is probably even more right as a worker, but it kind of leaves you like, that's just not how I do my business, but maybe I should shut the fuck up and take a lesson from him. And I'd be making a bigger envelope, and I'll be champ someplace else getting booked, because these promoters are marks for belts. They see a guy as a champ. They think he's fucking over and they'll bring him right in off of that alone. So shout out to the homie Greek God Papadon. He's a fucking damn good at this stuff, man. Damn good. Beast, what do you think on all that?
I think it's great. I mean, it is interesting I do think as a wrestler, it is a good thing to look for as far as becoming a champion of some sort, because it does, like you said, one, it guarantees another booking, and two, in the eyes of, supposedly if you're telling the stories right, in the eyes of the fans, it elevates you as a star because you held championship gold. So I do think it can be a good catalyst and a good storytelling mechanism. That being said, I also think sometimes they're overutilized. Sometimes I see independent promotions and they have just way too many different championships. I know I stooged off on the other week that we're working towards our own little independent promotion. And as of now, our plan actually isn't even to have any championship belts, just to put on good wrestling.
And you should do DCW, bro. What did we have in DCW? Yeah.
The envelope.
We had it was a scholarship because the whole thing was about people paying rip, but you should make it money based instead of fucking that, even if it's a work. Like, fuck a title, man.
True, but at the same time, ours is more about the spirit of competition. And so I would see, like, if we're going to do something that has stakes, it would be potentially we're bringing in XYZ name wrestler, and whoever wins this series of matches gets to go on the next show and wrestle the name. And so that would, build intrigue for the fans to see, okay, which one of our favorite local talents that's good is going to get a chance to have a good match against someone that's a nationally recognized name and something like that. We're, like I said, we're still working out the kinks, and I like talking about this because people always, I think wonder what all goes into booking a show, and it's a lot. And so I want to kind of explore this as the weeks and months go on, so that way give people some insight as far as all that it takes to try to book a quality wrestling show and not lose your ass, which we plan on doing both.
Yeah, you'll do. Yeah, you're gonna hit one and you're gonna lose one. That's the way it goes, boys. The one thing you were saying about belts and indies that pop me, and this is another reason why, even though I think we're at like day 911 of being the Dynasty Tag Team Champs, me and GGP. But still, I go to work these shows, and all these guys who only work other like small indies who have all these titles that they get made for $200 and they look like shit. Everybody at the merch table is a fucking champ somewhere. I'm working Immortal. There's the fucking NYWC championship. There's the fucking Evolve, the Imperial, the whatever the fuck. So if everybody's champ, then what the fuck does that mean? So if I was you going forward, one thing that I've been trying to institute, because people want to get pictures taken with the titles, it's for the boys to make merch, right? They want to come up in people's perceptions, whatever. But I would ban any outside titles from the boys at merch. That's a bad thing I've seen. In OVW, you might not have seen that a bunch before because it's not going to be allowed to happen. But you say nobody's allowed to bring outside titles to merch table. It's Impact, AEW, or WWE. It's going to be their belts. I don't know.
You're being hacked again.
Yep.
Fucking cocksucker.
Yeah,
my back.
Oh,
Ben Hamin has been completely taken out. Good brother Ted. Oh, he's back.
I take myself out.
but
it just lowers. If everybody's a champ, it doesn't matter. Being a champ don't mean shit if everybody's a fucking champ, right? So don't in your promotion. Like, I'd make that a hard and fast rule in your locker room. No outside belts at the merch table unless you're in the bigs.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of, you were talking a little bit behind the scenes, being starting your own promotion there, Ted. Aaron Stevens recently spoke to Nick Hausman of Wrestling Stink on WWE's boardroom, not seeing things the same way as fans. Now, recently, unbeknownst, if you didn't know, he was just recently named or announced last month as the booker now for Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, that being Aaron Stevens. He said he was out of pro wrestling altogether, completely out of it. He got a call about a year ago from Billy Corgan from the NWA and was actually filming a television series in Hawaii. He says, I really don't want to wrestle. And then Corgan tells him, no, you got to do this. You got to come check it out. So he comes out there, checks it out, likes it, says, oh, okay, yes, I get it. You're doing it right. And he said, of course, he's known Dave Marquez for years, reconnected, started talking. And of course, now he's, happy that he's taken this job now because, the acting had kind of dried up. It's only been really in the last couple of weeks. He said our auditions have really started to pick up again. He went on to say that he realized that he didn't love the business as much as he did before he became a booker or before he came back, because he always had been so, and he said, not lackadaisical is not the right adjective, but he said, I worried about my stuff too much. I made my segment the best it could be to go out there, rock the people, and then I didn't care about anything else. And obviously I say that in the context of my segment in terms of the show. He says, I'm not going to try to hurt anybody on this show or anything like that, but from my own contribution, whatever I have in the parameters I'm given, go make it the best you can and leave. That was his mindset. And he said, in that detachment, I want to say from the business side of things has always kind of served me well. But now that I'm on the other side of it, it's given me a whole new perspective. So, Ted, as you transition, you've gotten to do both things. I mean, does that sound like he's right in line there? He also went on to say that he was happy to learn from guys like, sorry, I want to put everybody these guys over, but guys like Rip Rogers, Killer Kowalski. I think he said Ben Hamin. Ben Hamin was in here.
Who was that? Who said that?
Danny Davis. Yeah, he said. I'm
sure Danny dropped my name. He's like, he fucking got Robert getting weed and got me heat. That was weird.
Yeah, no, he said. He said, Steven said, I've been very lucky. I didn't realize this, in that for years I was around some of the smartest people in the business. Jim Cornette, Paul Heyman, Danny Davis, Tom Pritchard, Rip Rogers, Dutch Mantell, Ben Hamin, who's just brilliant. Yeah, that part was there too.
Sorry, I'm getting tied up with messages.
This is it. I'm talking about, and I'm being facetious. He didn't actually say
No, he didn't mention it, but I'll put him over. He's fucking got a great mind, great body, great in acumen. Yeah. A guy who looks like a fucking world champ, who got over with character, doesn't need a belt, goes out and does, opposite of what everybody else is doing. And on the mic can get himself over, standing at the top of the platform. Doesn't even need to get to the ring. Bell doesn't even need to ring, and he's over already, dude. So Idol always did awesome business for us at DCW after he got released from contract. Guys like him, Ziggler, Ryback, Serena, who came in and worked with the greenest of the green guys just to keep the in-ring time in and also to help and pay it forward. I got nothing but good things to say about Idol no matter what. And him getting booked, is it Marquez's Hollywood, right? That's what he's booking now. One of the smartest decisions you could absolutely make is putting that guy in that position. That's all good for everybody. And it's all good for the wrestlers, because there's a guy who knows what the hell to do to get somebody over, who's not a mark belt, who's not a money mark, who wants to do great creative and is probably really hungry, because even as much as we saw from him, he still never reached his full potential. So what if he's not in the ring, and him becoming the next great promoter over the next 5 years and great booker, it was his true destiny from the beginning. I think it could be, man. I think his creative mind is phenomenal and sharp as a tack. And if you want to be one, ask one. 32nd degree Freemason.
I was going to say as well, you were name dropping all the people that he had the privilege to learn from over the years. And the thing about Idols, he just wasn't around these people. Idol was the kind of guy that went and sought out knowledge. Like, he would seek out these guys and pick their brains and try to learn more over the years. And he was someone that was constantly wanting to learn and wanting to be coached and get better. And so I think that says a lot about his ability to just be able to adapt and I mean,
he went. Here's the other. I got to say, to put this over as the man that he is. Not people know this kind of stuff. And I get along with Bolin super fine. I never got worked or anything like that. I always look at him for the, Southern character that Bolin is. But other guys feel some kind of way about him sometimes, and that's whatever. And they had their experiences. I like Bolin, and I always will. Idol was the same way. But when Bolin was real heavy and his health was bad, dude, Idol would go over, do all of his lawn work, do all this, that, and the other, and really never ask for nothing in return, man. As like when he first got to OVW and was with Bolin and got knowledge and that kind of stuff, that's the kind of guy that he really is. Will show up to volunteer, not be out on Twitter going, look what I'm doing. You know what I mean? While he's doing it to get vanity metrics, he just shows up and does that kind of shit. And a lot of men in this business, I can pride myself being one man.
You're breaking up. Pretty bad.
I was going to say on that point too, as far as him seeking out knowledge, back when he was doing the run in WWE, when he was doing like the scholarly gimmick, he actually built a relationship or acquaintanceship or friendship with Lanny Poffo, the Genius, to try to get bits from him. And so that just, I think, speaks to the level of he wants to truly be at the top of his game. And I think it's a great move for them. And I'm excited to see what he does in the Booker spot.
And to put this over, not wearing pink shorts, Matt. Why did Idol Stevens wear that? Why did Damian Sandow wear pink? To honor Rip Rogers as well, dude. It's all the small things. It's all the small things for the people who are in the know that show the character of somebody like that. So I hope he fucking tears it up out there, man.
Yeah. So to wrap up, he said, of course, he was trained with Killer Kowalski at the age of 16. Then, of course, went right to OVW with Cornette, Hamin, and Al Snow. He said on his booking style that he tries to treat the talent with respect, recalling his time in WWE. He said he doesn't necessarily place blame on them because they're a corporation, but they have to focus on one guy or one or two guys to be their top guys. And that's basically how it is. It's that simple. He's like, the fan response really doesn't have too much of an effect on WWE's corporation mindset on who they're going to pick as their guy. He said maybe he thought it was that way, but he said in the corporate boardroom, they don't see it like that. So that's just, I thought that was an interesting take to wrap up this from a business side end of the conversation. That the WWE is not listening to the fans; they're listening to their shareholders and their board members. At the end of the day,
Never
have
had.
noticed.
How about the pop of him at fucking Money in the Bank, right? Was that it? Was Money in the Bank or a ladder match? I can't remember.
I think it was Money in the Bank. He won Money in the Bank.
Yeah, it was Money in the Bank. Think about the pop of that. Think about the pop of Zack Ryder and how nuts the crowds were because they'd wanted that comeuppance for so long because the boardroom fucked these guys' pushes and their creative up over and over to the point where the fans are screaming, "Listen to us, you fucking assholes." And then Vince, guess who's the new GM now? The WWE Universe. You guys are in charge. Yeah, the fuck we are, bro. Because the first thing I do is fire your whole fucking family. That'd be the first thing. But they didn't listen on either of those guys. And there was millions upon millions of dollars left on the table by not putting them in the spot where their creative abilities could easily have shined and outshined. That's the problem. Outshined a lot of others that those boardroom motherfuckers are putting their money on instead of saying, here's the real property, because they're not listening to the streets. They're not listening to the sheets, and they're not listening to the fans in their own goddamn arena. So that's Idol giving a great corporate response for the position he's in now. But the reality is, and I'll say it for him, fuck those fucking idiots. Like they can't get anything right. So y'all.
Well, that's a good way to end the news segment, guys. Of course, don't forget to check out right now the Hamin Media Group 6-star search second round as it wraps up. Ladies and gentlemen, Boar Meets World won the first round. So they get one fan vote. That doesn't mean they win it. It just means they get a vote counted toward them. He definitely looks demoralized knowing that information. That Boar Meets World got a fan vote, but of course it was narrow.
I think Tyler Davis is behind this whole thing just to piss me off. To be honest.
It was a narrow victory, like by 1% to 2%. The WPMS was right there. And of course, shout out to Two In with Sergio. There's still all these podcast guys are still in the contention because the final vote does come down to the producers too. But we definitely like to hear your feedback. And round 2 polling is underway for Rat Salad Review, War on Morons, and the 10-man Top 10 podcast. So go check that out, download it, and then vote. War on Morons, I'll tell you, I'm not trying to put them over, but they have come out fast with the voting. Their fans were ready to vote. So if you think that the other shows are better, go voice your opinion. Or if you think War on Morons is better too, vote for them as well. Go to our Twitter. It's on Facebook as well. Just hit our regular Facebook main page, Hamin Media Group. It's very simple. I've got it all set up. Either drop a comment of 1, 2, or 3 for your favorite one. That's it. Takes 5 seconds. 1, send. 2, send. Whatever you want to do. 6-star search. Check that out, guys. All right. Impact Wrestling. It started off tonight with their, their package and whatnot, kind of hyping up what's been going on in the world of Impact Wrestling. Of course, letting us know that tonight Moose and EC3 would be meeting, or at least speaking somewhere to review their history of aggression toward each other and this TNA championship. But our first match tonight started off with Taya Valkyrie and Rosemary versus Nevaeh and Jessica Havoc versus Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz in a triple threat tag team match. This was a decent match by all 6 women. I thought they worked well together. It's interesting. We're talking about women's wrestling from an AEW standpoint, and one of their hottest characters saying, "Please watch us." Whereas the Impact Wrestling wrestlers, women, they're just going out there and wrestle. And I thought this was a decent match. Ultimately, Taya Valkyrie and Rosemary pick up the victory by pinfall. What did you think of this match to start? Good brother Ted. Good brother. What do you think?
I would say this match was technically fine, if not compelling. But I also don't think that's necessarily of the fault of the women. Multi-person tag matches, it's hard to tell a cohesive story within that unless each team has stakes that have been built up over a long period of time. And unfortunately, really the only relationship that's really been built up to a certain point would be Taya and Rosemary. And not that's not taken away from Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz or from was it Nevaeh and Havoc in there as well?
Yep.
They just haven't had a lot of time to really build up their characters and their stakes. And so it was technically fine. I didn't feel at any point there was a reason for me to be overly emotionally invested. And again, that's not taking anything away from the athletes. It just more so was, the booking of it. I think this would have been better served as just a straightforward tag team match versus a 3-way tag team match. I understand they're trying to do, get everyone's business in, but I think just to really grip the viewer into the story that's being told, it's hard to do that when you have 3 tag teams in there.
Ben, your thoughts?
These girls are the best on any roster right now. Better than AEW, better than WWE. Absolutely. And sometimes that's because you got nothing to lose. Being third place isn't the worst thing. Sometimes you can only go up, right? To maintain second and first, you got to keep going. And when you fail, it hurts that much worse, especially a women's battle royal. Ding dong. So, yeah, exactly. And, they are all sexy in their own way, whether you like the dark comic book stuff of Nevaeh and Havoc, whether you like the street type stuff, the sweetie type stuff, Cardi B of Tasha Steelz and Kiera Hogan, or this mismatch tag with Rosemary and Taya. What's important is we're moving towards the wedding, so it's babies up, and that is the psychology to make us, because you're not going to want to beat the bride before 2 weeks out and put her under. They should keep going over like this in a positive way. So when something happens at the wedding, whether it's between Taya and Rosemary and a bridezilla type thing, we'll have laid the groundwork for that swerve to be mean that much more by putting the babies over early on. And it doesn't hurt either of those teams to take a loss in them, because those 2 girls, their business is the main storyline, not the win of what's going on. So we just needed something to further that friendship. And later we get an unbelievable scene where it picks up all the details of the dark side stuff between Rosemary and Havoc. I was floored. I'm going, wow. I mean, the acting was good, and for a mythic thing, it was just how do you do a conversational piece that between 2 mythic characters about resurrecting a dude for somebody's wedding, and it's just like bridesmaid and whatever talking to each other? They pulled it off. You could easily fuck that scene up. You could I could write that scene wrong. They didn't. That was just a natural conversation where, so you said all their characters might not be solidified. It's scene work like that solidifies who they are, where they can operate as normal people. They're not breaking kayfabe, and they're paying tribute to a storyline that is 3 to 4 years old, goes back to Abyss and all them, the Hive and all that, dude. Like,
right.
That is so important for the 160,000 people watching your show, because they probably watched all that like we have as well. If you drop those details, people go, fuck, it's just like Raw, NXT, and they don't give a shit. They're just going forward. The fact that you took 3 minutes to do a high-level scene and take care of your business, mwah, I love you, ladies. Thank you very much.
Before we move on, good brother Ted Fudge 420 wants to know in the chat room, any hot tags spotted yet?
Actually, I was just going through it. I got sent one, although I will say the babyface did blow his own comeback a little bit, but I guess this was from Primetime Wrestling here. I'll show for those that are watching real quick, but you can find it on my Twitter. Primetime Wrestling, there's the babyface, the bald guy in peril, ducks the clothesline, hits the heel, goes underneath, blam, there's the hot tag.
Oh, nice.
That is a nice one too, man.
So there you go. Primetime Wrestling.
There you go.
Thanks, Bobo, for submitting. It doesn't happen too often, but when it does, I appreciate it.
We're really putting over Primetime Wrestling here,
I still want the hot tag challenge to continue. So just because we saw one hot tag, don't all the tag teams in wrestling don't just say we're done. We don't have to do Ted's hot tag challenge anymore. No, I want to see more hot tags.
Innovative hot tags, real good hot tags, old school hot tags.
Yeah.
You know, so good.
That's sweet.
Oh, yeah, that's just sweet at all.
Brother. All right. Well, moving on after that, as I get back to my notes here, because I wanted to go into that. But Steels, and Tasha, I mean, what did you think about them as far as I don't know what we're calling these girls yet. Tasha Steels and Hogan, they don't really have a tag team name. Do you feel like they're getting lost at all within the division?
No, I think they're good. I mean, they're obviously the African-American stereotype, sweetie, hood rat type of thing. They're playing into it. Kara Hogan is sexy. They got the eye candy there. You got a little bit of Orange is the New Black mixed in, kind of with like the jail dykiness of Tasha Steelz' character, right? And then Tasha Steelz was awesome on the cell last night. Gets thrown over the top rope, holds on, comes back, Insiguri, boom, clean, gets knocked off, cell. Like, there was a lot of good last night in that match, and the timing was everything that AEW women's division isn't. The timing was there on things, you know what I mean? And all that's because all 6 of these girls are veteran workers and performers, dude. In fact, if I was Khan, I'd try and hire all 6 of those girls, and I'd get rid of half of the ones I got now.
I don't disagree. Well, after that, Johnny Bravo is now freaking out over the cost of the wedding. And I guess it hasn't been revealed at this point in time that Falaba got the money. They didn't watch the TV show last week. So Falaba says he was unable to get the money from Hernandez. And Johnny Swinger then, of course, chimes in and says that's why Ba's unfit to be the best man at this wedding. Swinger feels like he's more than qualified to be the best man because he's defeated Buddy Landell in Mid-Atlantic. Ba and then Steve start bickering with each other. Ba tells Steve that he'll see him and his stupid monkey in the ring later tonight. Of course, follow Ba. We'll get to it, but he has the money like on a necklace tied around his neck. But I thought this was a good little skit here, and I liked it. They've been giving Fallah Ba over the last couple weeks a little bit more character development here. We know that he's been always doing his ba thing, and he's had short spurts where he spoke English or whatnot. But I kind of like this.
Do you like? I was going to ask you. Do you like the broken? Yo, Lord, yes, I'm going to the wall of Mart to crush you, morons. Do you like the character voice going from ba to now he's got to do the Filipino? I'm going to do, like.
I mean, it doesn't bother me because he is Filipino. If you know what I mean, like I think that's probably why I'm okay with it.
I don't think he needs it though. I don't think he needs I get the transition from just doing ba Baran, and that's good to that. But I think that's a guy we could have flipped the switch on a little bit more, and he doesn't need to do, full. His gimmick is his look. It's right there. You know what I mean? He can do it, and he did it fine. I was just curious what you guys think about doing the broken English first.
I would say I like it because I feel like it's endearing. I feel like, especially, kids and families, when we have crowds again, like that's a character be like, I want to go see Falaba. And he's like, oh, you know what I mean? And he's the kind of guy that I think would interact really well and really get over. And someone like that I actually see even more business purposes. I think of great commercials where he's trying to figure out how to use the new gimmick game that they're selling, and he's like, "Oh, this is how you play." You know what I mean? Like, as silly and goofy as it is, like I feel like I can see the commercials and the sponsorship deals with just him doing like little commercial bits for him, similar to I would say like I don't know, you don't probably watch too much like Jimmy Kimmel, but like he does the thing with Guillermo, his co-host, and the little commercial spots they do with all these big companies are excellent. Like I like them way better than just a traditional. I think character Jimmy like Kimmel. That would really get over as a baby face, and that's going to allow him to expand his character more than just doing the ba thing.
I can't disagree with that, and I'm not against the first generation broken English kind of character. I was just curious, like, is that the move they needed to make here? But you may have sold me on that. I wasn't against it. I mean, I do it every time I go out there.
It's all in how they do it, and it doesn't feel forced. Like it feels like he's kind of natural at it. And I think that's.
I was going to say
you got to find what inside you is going to come across naturally. I think he just is able to run with it.
I was going to say to that point, there's kind of an innocence about Falaba that comes
you
down on the television.
You want to
yeah. Exactly.
Where even when he does selfish things like stealing money, you still can't help but laugh at
Boy,
shit.
it's a little kid in the cookie jar. Absolutely. He's got that inner child in him is what shines through. That's where, I mean, sure, the weight, the sumo, the hair, all that's in there, but it's the fact that we see the little 4-year-old with his hand in the cookie jar and he's just too cute. You know what I mean? So I'm with you. You guys sold me on that. I think it was a point that stuck out to me of like, that's an interesting choice because it does open up worlds, but is it also pigeonholing him? I don't know.
You are correct in that the trajectory with that character isn't going to be towards the World Heavyweight Championship and being the main player on the show. I still think there's a lot of longevity as, being a bit player on other storylines throughout the show. You know what I mean?
Let him get over with that. Let them love him more. And then a heel comes in and gets the real heat on him. Then he can fucking flip to hardcore. I'm a badass sumo. And now he can cut the promo. This is good clown groundwork to condition your audience to light the way to get to that point 2 years from now. I think you're spot on, Beast.
Or almost like a Lenny and George type situation, or maybe even a romantic situation where he ends up caring about another character and then something happens to that character. And that's when he has to flip the switch to get his revenge.
Sure. All good stuff there. But Falaba, this match is House Show 101 on TV in a time of COVID. It fucking had me dying at the end. Maybe it's because of my own personal fucking hatred from Tyler Davis and my man titties or the gynomass that I've suffered with for my eugenics or for my genetics for years. But dude, the fact that he tried to get him to take his shirt off in the beginning, he wouldn't do it because he didn't want to expose his breast. They do the whole match, and at the end, the heat spot get over is the fucking shirt tear just to get Fala's reaction. I didn't see it coming, and I've pretty much seen everything. So I thought, and I was laughing my ass off, dude, at this. This was fucking great.
I agree. The only thing I will say is as soon as the pin happened, he shouldn't have stayed there on the ramp and gotten the glory shot. He should have been and trying to hide it, and he should have gotten the fuck out of there.
Out of there. I agree.
But yes, I did enjoy a lot. That was the one choice I'd say, if he's trying to hide that money and then it's exposed, you gotta, but that's an even funnier scene where he can be like, he's trying to go to the back, like nobody and that could be its own thing versus he turned around and was like, and just staring at the camera. It's like, well, dude, if you're trying to hide the money, you're making it really obvious right now. You know what I mean? But it was very good. I liked it a lot. That's just the only choice I wish they would have made is he should have gotten the
other choice too would have been when Hernandez powders from the fucking match later on in the shitty 10. Like they should have cut away during that 10-man and something between Fala and Hernandez should have happened backstage along those lines. You know what I mean? Like where fucking Fala's now looking and counting the money, making sure it's all there and nothing came out in the ring. And Hernandez peeks through the corner and fucking sees it and says, all right, motherfucker, I got you. And then next week we get something going off of that. You know what I mean?
Either that or you create a chase scene. Instead of putting Hernandez out there later, Hernandez then walks out and sees Falaba. And you can do a whole rest of the show of them doing ridiculous things, him trying to get away. And then the next week you pick right up showing Falaba's been trying to dodge Hernandez the whole week. You know what I mean? You can even throw up a bunch of internet clips and get people interested.
I wanted Falaba as fucking like LAX where he's all choloed out. You could fucking do like Hernandez runs up and like if you wanted to go real.
Yes, I know. I like that where he's like, "What's up, homie?" And
he's like, "Hey, Holmes, where you go? Did you see the big guy?" He goes, "He went that way, Holmes." And fucking Hernandez just takes off. But it's
Hernandez even does a double take though, and it's like, "I hadn't seen you around anywhere, homie. You've been around." And he's like, "Yeah, SA."
Dude, like all that is beautiful, and Fala would kill it with that. That's what we want to see. This type of stuff. Belts don't matter. That things like that would stay in my head till the end of. I feel like just we didn't have to write it out or even kick it out. I already see the whole scene in my head like it's already been in there. You know what I mean? So there's no getting rid of it.
Yep. Yeah, I wanted to see Falaba being chased around. Maybe the only way he gets away is he's a big guy. He has to. There's like a truck back there waiting for him, and he just rolls into the back of the bed of the truck. Go go go! You know what I mean? That's how he gets away.
But let me fuck with your comedy. That's not the fucking funny bit. The funny bit is there being like a mini bike there, and Falabah's got to get on like a fucking bear and fucking take
like a
off.
scooter.
Yeah,
Like
full
a-
Either that or one of those really old-fashioned giant wheel bikes. This is like he has to slowly pedal to get it momentum to go.
But it's things like you step it up, and even in the joke, the choice is there that he could fucking go in there and hide. But there's a little mini bike there and his big ass is on it. That's fun. And then you cut to the long shot and here he comes.
Yes. Where, he looks at the hiding spot, he looks at the bike back and forth, and then he looks at the camera, and then you see him ching, ching.
Yeah.
A little bell on it.
Well, you guys have already gone over the match.
Get on the big wheel bike to pursue after him. You got Fala on the fucking little one and Hernandez on a big 1920s bicycle fucking coming after him, dude. Come on. I mean, it's ridiculous, but let's get ridiculous with it and have some fun. It's Wrestle House,
Yeah.
So you guys already gone over the match. As far as the segment that took place before it, though, Rosemary, as you mentioned, had an interaction with Havoc, and they came to an agreement that if Rosemary can defeat Havoc next week on Impact, then Havoc will help assist in the resurrection of Father James Mitchell. If Havoc wins, though, Rosemary will leave her alone, and Father James Mitchell will stay where he is. So at this point, I kind of think they're going to swerve us, and we're not going to get Father James Mitchell.
The whole thing could be, does Father James Mitchell get his payday? So we're writing it that way. If we're not going to pay him, we can write him out. If not, if he can't be there for some other reason, and if we can get him, then we'll go the other way. That's not a bad way for a booker to leave things open. I thought that myself. I go, he must know that if he doesn't sign and the longer he waits, this is Stevie Richards 101. If the longer he waits where they need him in the scene, he can fucking say that he wants whatever, $4,000 instead of the $1,500 they would pay him to do it. That's worker 101, bro. So that made me laugh when I heard that.
Well, after the eventual,
I want to go back real quick. I have one last funny spot. Someone brought it up in the chat. I think they said something about they said the skateboard scooter. Those scooter things are popping up all over the place. That would be the thing to have Fala jump on the scooter. Then you have Hernandez. However, Hernandez runs out of money, and so it stops on him, and he can't go any further. But Fala buys all the money. He's like, "See you later," and that's it. You know what I mean? That's the scene.
Matt loves spending money on those skateboard scooters.
I only did it once.
But here's the question: will you ever do it again?
No.
$30 a rip to go half a mile.
Oh, well, here's the thing they don't tell you. Like the fine print makes it look like it's only like $1 to sign up and then $1 for amount of length of distance. No, it's like 39 cents a mile or something like that. They don't tell you. So I racked up like $35 worth of use on this thing. And I was like, oh, Jesus, that's a meal out. I'm not going out to dinner tonight. Jesus. All right. Well, so yeah, I won't be doing that very often.
That is funny that the money would run out and it just craps. He's almost got him, and then he looked down and out of money.
Like an app or something, yeah.
That's good.
So after this, we have the Evolution. I've liked what they did last week with Heath Slater, and I kind of liked what they're doing this week as well with him and Rhino. So it's announced that Heath is going to be part of the Call Your Shot Gauntlet as him and Rhino have an interaction. And Rhino puts over the fact, hey, I talked to Scott Damore, I talked to management, no more sneaking into buildings, no more, doing anything like that. You're in at the pay-per-view, and if me and you win, you got your full-time Impact contract, and it's going to be your contract, the one you pitched, the amount you wanted for, and all the bells and whistles, right? And Heath's excited. And he tells him also, by the way, tonight you're going to be in a match as well for the Call Your Shot, so that way you can pick what number you're going to be at. If you win this, tournament that they're doing, then you get to be number 27. So it's like becoming the number 30 Royal Rumble winner, right? Well, after he takes off from the scene, then we find out from Scott Damore and Rhino's interaction that Rhino has put in his own Impact career on the line. And not only if they lose this match, he doesn't get a contract, Rhino forfeits his contract. So I liked that them amping up the stakes here in this storyline. Good brother Ted, what did you think of this?
So ultimately, I think it's intriguing, and I am interested to see where they go from here. My one thought would be, I feel like every time Heath wrestles in an Impact ring, it means a little less for the ultimate goal of him getting a contract, because we're seeing him make multiple opportunities to wrestle in the ring, which is supposed to be the end goals. We want Heath to be able to wrestle on Impact. But so that's I guess my one grievance is I feel like every time they put him out there in a match, it means a little less because that's the end point, is want him to do that, unless the end point is they both lose the opportunity, in which case that would be interesting. I don't know how they get back from there if they both end up losing their contracts.
They go to AEW. How they
that's
got all
it.
that money.
That's how they do it. They just send them off. Although, thinking about it, since I'm doing the Good Brothers gimmick, what if they work back in, because we've put over the Good Brothers, have all this extra money. What if, they somehow got under their skin and somehow had a match where, if Heath and Rhino can win, that they can get their contracts, but the money is going to come from, half of the money that the Good Brothers get, because they get paid double, because that's something that they care about is money. They put it over. And so I'm literally thinking on the spot here is the one thing I could think of. Maybe they could work back in to the storylines, but I don't know where they're going to go. Honestly, does this come up where they win and then he finds out later and kind of has a chip on his shoulder because he didn't want Rhino's help to go behind his back, or they both end up losing their jobs? I don't know. So it's interesting, and I'm curious to see where they end up, what decision they end up going with on here.
So Ben, is it babies up, or does Heath Slater turn heel at Bound for Glory to pick up this victory? And that he screws over Rhino, and it turns into that.
The meat of the story is them losing. People always wins and losses matter. Good Brothers go over. The real meat is now we have a secret, right? Scott Damore tells him he's another great Scott Damore B player scene in here to walk out,
right? Because
we knew as soon as he said, "Did you tell him the other part?" We're in your mind, it instantly goes, if they lose, does Rhino go too? Is he doing that? And then they play it out. You're like, oh, that is good twist. Interesting. And he doesn't need to know. So we as the audience know the stakes. Heath Slater doesn't know the stakes. Rhino does. And now when something happens or Heath gets fucking gone over on, we're all going to feel it like Rhino feels it, but doesn't know. And now has to break the news to Heath. Then the fucking meat and potatoes is between Heath and him. Or I'll let you, let me finish this piece because I got a stooge report. I want to get your opinion on this. All right, is anybody's number on this? From Rhino the other day. This is a mass text, so message me back individually. Because of an overwhelming online social media response Heath Slater and I got from the XICW show we did and what they're doing with us on Impact, I talked to Heath and came up with a price that works for us to promote us. If you'd like to book us as a team, if you're getting the next text message, I mean, it means I like you as a person and a promoter.
Oh,
so
nice.
I know. Yeah, it was very nice.
You want to give him some money, then you can do that.
But is that Rhino being smart, hitting promoters up, knowing they're going to lose, and now we're going to have Heath and Rhino on the road to go do stuff that way? And is Rhino signed? I don't know. Is Heath Slater signed? I don't think so. Is Good Brother signed? I don't think so. I think Damore is smart, and he goes to Ed Nordholm and says, here's the WrestleMania bloodbath and the 30 or the 90 dayers, and here's who we can get, and here's what their price is. We can get the Good Brothers for 40 grand for 10 fucking appearances, right? And yeah, right. I bet they're getting 3 each. Maybe even Yeah, I bet they're getting 3 each minimum. So 60 grand for 10 appearances. That's your pay-per-view, your TVs. We're pretty much there, right? At 10 appearances. The payoff will be what happens at the pay-per-view. That's probably their last one. So money-wise and booking-wise, either says, while they're trying to work the phones with Khan to go over there, which they absolutely are, that will keep Heath and Rhino here because they're cheaper for us. They'll get the rub from these guys while they go, and we'll be able to do business going forward. Even if Heath and him are signed, we can obviously say they're not and play that whole fucking thing up. And that's our storyline. Good Brothers came in, did good business on the way out, and fucking that's how I would write it. The other part of that is too, Rhino and fucking Heath may be in the same goddamn situation where they're not signed either. They're on a performance basis and they're trying to play off of that going on in the indies, which may influence, because of the underground of Impact being indie fans, them actually getting a contract and coming back and being that. So that's I'm sure I probably shouldn't have stooged that off, that text, but that's Rhino also working the promoters. And that's smart. That's smart as hell, bro. So that is a little piece of Impact Attack knowledge you're not going to get anyplace else. But does that little pebble in the pond change your perception of the business that may happen in the payoff now.
Certainly, yeah. And if anything, I
guess I called it.
Does definitely seem like then they're going to go towards them losing their quote unquote spots, but that actually works out better because then they can turn around the indies on trying to get over and eventually work them back into the main roster.
Well, the next matchup, with the implication being the winning team will face each other in a fatal 5-way match next week on Impact. The winner of that match will then earn the coveted 20th spot in the Call Your Shot Gauntlet match at Bound for Glory. So the match was Tennille Dashwood, Tommy Dreamer, Brian Myers, Cody Deaner, and Johnny Swinger versus Alicia Edwards, Heath, Rhino, Cousin Jake, and Hernandez in a 10-person tag team match. It was good. It was a 10-man match. Winner of his match.
It was a 10-man match.
It was. You are right. It was a 10-man match. 10-person with those women in there. That was brutal. Some of that, the wrestling. How about Dreamer? Did Dreamer seem like he was hot about something in the back, and he's like, "Fuck it, I'm going out there and do what I got to do." He came out pissed off, and I was just like, something pissed Dreamer off back there, dude. Or he was trying to agent it to somebody and whatnot. But this is the Wrestle House match with Heath and Rhino added, and they got all the business.
Brian Myers and Dreamer.
Yeah. Well, they got the Brian Myers and Dreamer business over on the same team. I thought that was interesting. Yep. Don't put them against each other. And then Dreamer.
Maybe that's why he was pissed, because he had to team with them.
Maybe he was doing that, but it didn't. And maybe I had music on and they got it over on commentary, but I didn't get that relationship until he hardways him the fuck in, and he does the flip bump, which people were like, they popped on commentary for it. I go, dude, that might look safe and fun, but Dreamer's on the right side. He fucking pulls, and Brian does the flip in over the top rope and lands right next to the ropes in the corner. I bet that bump, which is just an acrobatic bump, hurt. I bet it hurt more than anything else. That ring did not move a fucking inch to flex when he hit that thing like a sack of shit, bro. He took the bump good, but I was like, oh, my back's hurting just thinking about it today, dude. And it's on things like that are really nothing in the corner that always fucking hurt the worst, dude. Always.
Well, Heath picked up this victory with the wake-up call. Did you like Heath at least going over here, good brother Ted?
I would say so. But here's the thing. This was supposed to have, Bound for Glory implications or championship implications or something like that. I didn't get any sense that during the course of this match that other than maybe Heath and perhaps the Deaners, no one else seemed to really be invested or have a sense of urgency over, we need to win this match so we can get an opportunity. You know what I mean? That's what I think took away from this was there was no sense of urgency. In fact, a lot of them kind of fucked off and didn't care. Now, Tennille, I was actually okay with. That's the first time she's done character work during a match, and I was like, okay, good. But everybody else, I felt like should have been invested in the match and trying to get in there and trying to have, again, that sense of urgency. Which
what was the stakes? What was the stakes for the winner, Beast?
Yeah, you tell me. It was something to do with Bound for Glory.
Yeah, so the winning team next week, so this now winning team, that being Alicia Edwards, Heath, Rhino, Cousin Jason, Hernandez, are now going to face off against each other in a fatal 5-way match. And the winner of that match will then earn the 20th spot in the Call Your Shot Gauntlet match at Bound for Glory.
That's interesting. I don't have a problem with that. I think then this 10-man leading to another, that's a nice little ladder to climb for somebody to get in there and be the one. At the end of this, Heath on the ropes. Heath knows. You see the difference between an indie worker who's at Impact and a WWE guy who knows where all their shots are and everything. Heath looked like a star here at the end. I mean, he's on the Florida B12 diet, obviously. His back is massively wide. I was like, Jesus. Usually you see it in his forehead and his arms and chest too, but his back was just fucking billboard wide. I was like, holy shit. But he looked like a star at the end of this. And he right into the camera, give me the contract. You know what I mean? Like, really just great building week after week after those first 2 or 3 weeks when they wanted to make him stone cold and we shelved that. This has been a good ride so far. And last night was a good little piece of business in that.
Well, after that, then we followed this up with our fourth match of the night. That's Kylie Ray versus Kimberly. And I got to tell you, I just wasn't really into this match. I had a hard time keeping this match had a hard time keeping my attention. I mean, the victor of this match was Kylie Ray via pinfall. After the match, Peraza attacked Ray from behind. And then there was some forearm exchanges. Ray super kicked Peraza, and then Ray was hitting her with some haymakers, and then Peraza ran away. So there was some business, I guess, done to continue this build, if you will, for Kylie Ray and Deonna Purrazzo. But at that point, it really didn't mean anything for the match itself, other than, I guess, making Kylie Ray look strong. And that's is that.
But did it make her look strong?
Not really.
It seemed like she was going toe to toe with the lackey of the person that she's trying to go after, and it took her 10 minutes to be able to get that win. So I don't know if this necessarily made her look strong as much as it made Kimberly, I thought, look great out of this, but that's not who we're selling. We're selling Kylie Ray. And then the only part of that I'd say, from a character standpoint, is once again that invisible force that is the ring ropes. Kylie Ray did a good job fired up and looking crazy. And then when Deonna Purrazzo rolled out of the ring, you can't go through those ropes. It's a force field that prevents you from, no matter how mad you are, you can't go through them. And that's something that, is a trope that not just Impact. I see it all the time in wrestling. And I don't get that. I really don't. If I'm really mad at someone, it's going to take security or more than just, the invisible ring, the invisible force field that is the ring ropes to stop me from going after you.
Yeah, that's a good point. Ben, did you have any other thoughts on this match before I go over
Kylie Ray is really bringing that intensity. You can see she's serious about the gig and wants to make the most out of it. Kimberly, that's the other girl's name, right?
Yep.
Yeah, the gear's got to go. The gear is doesn't fit the storyline. It's distracting, and it's a little too indie-rific for me. I don't know, because she can wrestle. The kicks are good. She went too long here, and the business wasn't right at the end. You said Kimberly and Deonna get something on each other, right? At the end?
Well, at the end, Deonna attacked Kylie Ray, and then Ray and her went back and forth before eventually the heel
that's wrong.
Laid out and ran.
Deonna gets something on Kylie Ray and leaves her laying. Or Deonna feeds in and goes to do something, but Kylie catches her and Deonna leaves Kimberly laying there as forget her. She was just a decoy anyway. For Kylie to get anything back on Deonna right there is the wrong thing. The business is heels need heat. So if at the end of the match she slides in, gloms her, and is standing up, she just took away the victory of her win in that moment in the sun. That's heat. For Kylie to get anything back on her takes all that away. Now we're square one, just saying these girls are going to fight. Their
intensity is real between these two.
Yeah, it should have been Deonna slides in to look at Kimberly and maybe berate her, but not what did you do? I thought you were going to win. While Kylie's up on the second rope celebrating like Heath was, turns around and right into a super kick and lays her out right there. And Deonna is hot about it, looks at them both and walks off and leaves them both laying. That's heat, not going back and forth with forearms. As soon as you do that, you're Japanese wrong style, and you just killed any heat that Deonna was going to have because you got your hands on her.
Well, let's talk about something I don't want to forget that I didn't write down, but I just recalled it that I want to go over here quickly. There was a backstage segment with Sami Callahan, Eddie Edwards, where he walks up to him and they kind of get in each other's face, kind of push each other back and forth, and then Shamrock attacks him. He's, I guess, puts on an ankle lock, and Sami Callahan's got his phone out like he's, recording it, which I thought was just a little odd. But what did you think of this segment, Ben?
Like I said, there's no real catalyst why Sami and him are together, and that Shamrock's just doing full felony assaults on people because Sami says so.
20 guys.
Yeah, we need the fucking hacker thing. We need the takeover. We need some way that Sami is in control of Shamrock's mind. We never got it. So now this is just a weird relationship spin out that really isn't working. And I see this, I go, wow. And then Mark's like, Sami versus Eddie, awesome. And I'm like, oh, Sami versus Eddie.
Saw this again.
Saw that for 2 years in 2CW. I loved it. They killed it, but everyone's like, it's the first time since the last time till the next time. And they have chemistry and can go with their little hardcore style. But it's things like that where how do we have unbelievable attention to detail with Rosemary and Havoc, But here we don't do any of the little hacker things that would make this super simple to make it believable. Why is Shamrock doing these things? It doesn't make sense to me.
So the wrong the person that is maintaining the details in the other segments sounds like they need to be the person that's the head producer for the show. Right. Sounds like the wrong person is in charge of the final say, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, the details here, why couldn't they do a second take when King Shamrock attacked Eddie Edwards? He fell down and got back up. It's like, why couldn't you have just said, all right, timeout, we got to do that again? Instead, he clearly, I mean, it was quick enough to where the shot didn't look overly bad, but still you could tell he fell down afterwards and looked very clumsily attacking. And to me, if he's a machine and a militant assassin type character now, he needs to look like he doesn't make mistakes like that. In my opinion.
Awesome. Frank's Pickle Barrel asks, his daughter wants the wrong style shirt. You can get it at ProWrestlingTees.com/Ben Hamin. Probably going to upload the Culture Vulture shirt today too, so it'll be a couple days to get it. And also the Heels Over Strong, just in time for election season to piss everybody off while you're at the supermarket with your mask over your face. Heels Over Strong, Hacker Hamin and Trumpty Trump infidels. Be over.
MSG, if Ken Shamrock's starting from the ground, how many people would you want on your side to face him?
So he's just laying down. He's already there.
He's laying down, making eye contact, but he's on his back.
15, I think, with 15.
Okay,
that's fair.
Yeah. 15 down, 20 standing. You know what I feel like?
Fair.
But here's the key, and I need to point this out to people, okay? It can't be one at a time. We have to massively go at him. If one at a time, it's going to be some Bruce Lee type Matrix Keanu Reeves will take us all down. We have to charge. If we do that, some of us are going to get caught in the crossfire. But you know what? We're going to achieve our result. Our victory is going to be taking it down.
Sounds almost like the South's in the Civil War. They've worked out really well for them. I can't wait for Shamrock to smash your face in.
Hey, that's the payoff on this. That's the payoff. I'm good. So someone else who got his face smashed in here today with nobody who came from the back was Scott Damore. As in this next scene, Scott Damore does some great acting backstage, and he gets a phone call. Someone gives him a call, giving him some news, and Eric Young walks out to the ring, and he says that he's not leaving until Scott Damore comes out here and basically gives him the news. So we have Scott Damore walking down to the ring. Eric Young says, looks like it's good news to me. It's good news, boss man. Why don't you come up here and give us the good news? I'm not going to go through this whole promo, but he puts out the fact that he kind of knows and anticipates that he's hurt Rich Swann further. Scott Damore starts to explain, yes, you did add more substantial damage to Rich Swann's ankle.
Can I stop right there real quick?
Sure.
We did have a scene before with this with Damore again as a B player.
That's what I said, right? Get the phone call.
Yeah. And we don't know who it is. We assume it's the doctor. WWE would go, Dr. Andrews, can Rich Swann compete at Survivor Series? And No, he can't. Oh, no, whatever.
Let's go deliver the news.
Go deliver the news to everyone. And then they'd hang the fucking cell phone up on the wall or some shit. But this is Damore taking a call, being humble to a doctor. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. So is that your, what you really think? Okay. Thank you very much, sir. I've got some things to do. You have
a real conversation,
real call, real convo, all that shit, dude. That is the difference between Impact's creative and everybody else's.
The next time you call me to do something, I'm just like, okay, Ben, I will tweet that.
I will. Tweeting it right away, sir. Thank you.
It's now out there.
Like brutal, right? So more, dude, this is week 3, maybe even week 4 of quality scene work from Scott Damore, dude. Really, and not just being the instigator or the 50-50 like in Heath Slater. On these shows, we've seen him be the C player or the B player in a scene and just have to be the byline in the greater storyline as management. Adam Pearce is, a believable management dude backstage, but they're going to write it WWE style. This is written far more real as like what a promoter has to go through.
So continuing on, they go back and forth. Ultimately, what ends up happening is Scott Damore does get to explain to Eric Young that Rich Swann is cleared. He will be wrestling. This angers Eric Young, and then he starts, grabs him by the neck, throws him in the corner, starts beating him down, puts him in a single lock. And I'm just sitting here thinking, man, you got all these refs and security backstage and no one came out to help the boss. Like, if I'm Scott Damore, when I get back there, you're all fired because
nobody, like, he's fucked over everybody because he's management. So guys are like, good. I'm glad he got fucking ass beat. Eric Young's the locker room hero right now. Like, he's a heel on TV, but all the guys come to the back. He's like, did you get one in for me? Oh yeah, I fucking tattooed him with that one, bro.
Well, Rich Swann comes out, he makes the save and scares off Eric Young. That's how that segment ended. What did you think of this, Dr. Good, Brother Ted?
The one thing I will say that I felt it wasn't even anything to do with the performance. They really need to update Rich Swann's music, because hearing a groovy disco beat at the end of the segment didn't really do much to really put over the seriousness of the angle. You know what I mean?
He needs a Little Wayne or something like that, man. He needs something
a little harder.
Yeah. But I don't know. Was it a mistake having Swann come out and be up here? Should Eric Young gotten more heat on Swann right here is what I was going to ask you, Beast.
Well, it depends on who's going over. I have to assume Eric Young is going over, because you do want to show your baby face can go. If he's hurt and then you get more heat on him, and then you beat someone that was shown to be, you crippled him, multiple times, and then you beat him, then who'd you beat? But if you beat someone that is resilient and continues to come back, and it still comes back and whips your ass after you thought you took him out, hey, now I believe Rich Swann could beat Eric Young. But in actuality, I think they're going to have Eric Young end up
going over,
getting the win in the end.
I can see that too, because that's what Impact likes to do sometimes, and it's not wrong. It's just a choice. But I would have liked to seen, just because I'm a heel, him leave Swann laying again. You know what I mean? It could. That's where it didn't have to be like the Kylie Ray thing, I think, because they've done enough to each other. Swann comes in hot. They're fucking brawling. But then bink, fucking Eric Young gets up on something, gets the chair and fucking takes the leg out again and gets himself out of there while Damore and him are down. And then in the payoff, he fights from underneath, Swann would, but Damore is the one that comes out to cost the fucking finish. Or Damore comes out, tries to, fucks around, gets taken out again, but that's enough of a distraction with Damore going down, not getting heat on Young, that it gives them the upper hand to go babies up in that. You know what I mean? Because they've gotten heat on Damore twice now. Damore's got to be involved in the payoff some way. Otherwise, they're just going to bury him, and you can beat the shit out of your boss anytime you want, and there's no repercussion.
So we've got one of our refs here in the chat room, twitch.tv and on YouTube. He says that actually, funny story about that, it was the last thing filmed, and most people had gone home. So the refs were already involved in doing something else, and it was just too good not to go with it as far as the segment. So that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay. Well, at least that actually makes sense. At the end of the night, people were doing things. Otherwise, I'd be like, where the hell is everybody? Like, you ain't got regular refs to come out there, or security people, coronavirus. But then again, nobody can keep Heath Slater out of the building. So what am I asking about security, right? I don't know. Who am I? Well, the big LG and Machine Gun cut a promo. They talk about wanting to be the best, and the only thing they want to do is win the Impact World Tag Team Championships. I'm sorry. Did you want to talk about that before we went into the match itself? Any comments on the promo?
Whose promo was it? Sorry, I was answering a question.
Big LG.
Oh,
Big LG, brother.
Dude,
good brother.
Bad. It was real bad, bro. Good brothers come down thinking they're over and that they're going to mail in the over performance in front of no crowd. Very tough to do that bit without dudes doing canned laughter for you backstage, putting you over, right? That's the whole thing. So you can't come down and go, we're clinking some Good Brother beers and we got this over and we drink some wine. Yeah, I drink wine too. Little vodka. Yeah, we do. And it was just like, we're just doing tropes to try and show.
I almost feel like, what if they had their own collection of young boys? Like, hey, why don't you come out to the ring? But they utilize them as one bump fodder for them as distractions. And of course, they got to go get their beers. Hey, go grab us. You know what I mean? And like that's their crew. I think that's something that would help put it over.
That is show don't tell, right?
Yeah.
What we're getting is, hey, we drink alcohol, we're over, and it was just like a mailed-in performance there. Not that those guys can't deliver things, but that was too plotty, and if those guys are supposed to be cool, that was the opposite of cool. I fucking turned up the fucking I think I had Heart of Gold on at that time, Neil Young. That was far cooler than whatever the fuck they were saying at that point, bro. Once I heard and vodka and wine, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. I went to a frat party once and puked all over the fucking dude's bed. Mad Dog 2020 blueberry bling bling open blender. It was fucking awesome. I'm over his shit. Yeah, great, right? Like, I'd way rather see it than tell me how much you drank. It's like that girl. I had 2 lemon drop shots last night. I was wasted, you guys.
Are you talking about Melissa Santos Twitch stuff? Is that what we're talking about?
Well, how about Melissa Santos on Twitch eating while she was on there? Dude.
The steak was so juicy. Oh my God.
I fucking couldn't believe it. I mean, I'm a fan of hers. I think she's got great stuff, but you're being paid to be the interlude on Twitch, even if there's 3,000 people watching. We're watching. I got 22, 25. I'm pumped for that. You know, I'm not going to be sitting there like we do on Conspiracy Horseman when we eat and drink live on air, but like, or some do. But that was just brutal, like brutal to see the hot girl being like, fuck this job. I'm eating dinner.
I'm done.
But I would say going back to that point, I do feel like if they did have their own little crew, then like this segment could have worked, because then when they did the shitty lines, them overreacting the game would have been okay. We get it. They are obviously jaded and don't care, but these young boys are trying to get over. Where they'll say, yeah, we'll drink vodka, and then all of them, oh yeah, they know. You know what I mean? And they could play off them easier. And I think something like that would help get over that gimmick.
Absolutely. They were just hitting tennis ball over the net, and there's nobody there to return it. It's just falling dead on the other side, right? So that was really the issue with this. So it's not their delivery. The content could be a little stronger and punched up and more good. But if you don't have the full picture to get the game played out like Man Beast just laid out there for you, it's going to fall flat. So maybe that's something to learn from mistake-wise, but I think the reality is these guys are gone after Victory Road. I can't see that Impact putting the money out for them.
Well, before we got into the match, they did an updated Impact Bound for Glory card. So here's the card so far. It's Eric Young, Rich Swann, Championship, Deonna Purrazzo, Kylie Ray, Women's Championship, Motor City Machine Guns defending against the Good Brothers versus the North versus Ace Austin and Madman Fulton in a Fatal 4 tag. Rohit Raju defending the title against Jordan Grace, Willie Mack, TJ Perkins, Trey Miguel, Chris Bay in a 6-way scramble for the X Division, EC3 versus Moose, and Call Your Shot gauntlet match. And then now Eddie Edwards versus Ken Shamrock. So that's the current card. And now
not a bad little card, honestly.
Oh, that is pretty good.
5th match, Doc Gallows with Carl Anderson taking on Madman Fulton. These guys brawled all over. 2 big men. Big boots in midair at one point from the top turnbuckle. Fulton attacked Gallows with a chair. They were choking him outside, but eventually Gallows was able to pick up the victory as he connected with the Gallows pole through 2 chairs. That's what he's calling it. To pick up the victory. The winner of this match, Doc Gallows. Now, while you're going to this match, I'm going to pour myself another cup of Russo Bro coffee. If you want to go ahead and start, Dr.
Well, apparently now the one thing I took away from this match is a steel pipe, I guess, hurts just as much as a punch, because they hit each other a few times with that steel pipe and then just kept coming back for more. And so that was one of my big takeaways is, can we please put over the steel pipe, either tease the threat of it and not actually use it, or if you're going to use it, then it's one and done, because I don't know anybody that can get hit in the head with a steel pipe and continue to just be functional, much less just, continue to have a wrestling match. I understand, the pipe itself is just a piece, I believe it's just a piece of PVC pipe with styrofoam around it, and then they spray paint it. So I understand, yes, it really doesn't hurt, but let's pretend like it does. And so that way it's a more meaningful prop, for lack of a better word.
Right.
But in of itself, it was good intensity. I thought this was a decent, little hardcore brawl. I just would have preferred them not to have buried, again, the steel pipe. Other weapons I feel like are okay to utilize more often. I think, the other stuff they did was fine, but I just that's one of my pet peeves is not, burying a pipe like that.
And you could tease it, get it over the weapon, clang it on the the barriers and stuff, and on the ring apron, and nobody ever has to get hit with it. You can just duck one, clang, sell your hand, fucking turn
in which case just use a real steel pipe. You know what I mean?
Right. The threat of violence is everything. Just do misses right there. That I agree. The prop thing wasn't what it should have been. That stuck out to me too. I am pumped though for Madman Fulton getting these opportunities, because you can only really get better when you work with people who are better than you. Or that's not true. That's not true. I would say that, but once you're at a certain level and you need to go work with people who don't know shit, that's also going to make you better. Because when I worked Joe Pimentel 15 minutes, that was his fourth match. Wow. Yeah, dude. And you know me, I can put stuff together, but for me to carry 3 15-minute matches we've had now, and usually my shit goes 8 to 10, with a light heavyweight, or with me with a super heavyweight and him with a featherweight build, like to carry that kid through. I mean, he's an athlete, but it made me raise my game as an in-ring performer.
I would say my argument would say, I don't think you necessarily learn from it, but I do think it empowers you as a performer where you can go out there with someone that's green or be able to elevate them up. But I think it's because of all the stuff that you learned with more experienced wrestlers that allow you to go in there with the younger wrestler. But to be able, but then I think the benefit though is it does empower you as a performer, because then you feel like, okay, I can do XYZ with just about anybody.
But knowing it and executing it and having the opportunity to execute it are two different ballparks, right?
Very true.
But from this, Fulton got to work with a guy who's got a shit ton of experience, from freaking Deacon to Festus to fucking Bullet Club to Good Briz Cliz, whatever it is, man. And that's a big thing for a guy who was, you know, I think he went to NX, or he was FCW and got clipped, I think. And then
2013, I think he was in one of the same. I think he was in the same class as Silvio.
I think so. Maybe. Because I don't think so was signed, so it was FCW. I mean, it might have been around the EC3 and them were there. But, you know, then to go to OVE and for Sami to kind of craft him and Rockstar and him get this second berth and now get these big matches, that just him even being in that match raised him up a tier in the fans' eyes, from being the hitman backup guy to being able to go hang with Big Luke. This was a good thing for him. So I know what that's like when you get those spots, when you're going from popcorn match and working local guys to now you're in this, that, and the other in a bigger storyline. That was a big night for him. So I was happy for that dude.
Absolutely. And a perfect example of you don't need to necessarily go over in a match to get over. I think this definitely elevated Fulton without him needing to get the win on Luke here.
Yeah, I mean, clean win from the big man, two big monsters going at it. And they did enough that when somebody went down, nobody looked stupid. It was believable that was it. So, yeah.
So that was the final match, but then we had one more thing on Impact Wrestling, and that was the post-video package with Moose and EC3. So the scene is set up with EC3 standing on a bridge. He's holding the TNA championship. Moose approaches. EC3 lays the title down and says, "Come on, Moose, cross the line." And then Moose attacks him. These two battle back and forth. And at the conclusion of the scene, it does look like EC3 is going to maintain the upper hand. He's got the championship belt. He's laughing at him. You know, he says, "You're a mix of every wrestler out there. You don't have an identity. Who are you?" And it was good up until this point. I thought he was going to leave and walk away. But then Moose was able to get back to his feet and take out EC3, leaving him bloodied, and EC3 was left laughing. And that's how this scene ended. It was a very peculiar way. There didn't seem like, as you mentioned, Ben, a lot of heat here in this scene. It looks like it all went out.
They've been teasing where they don't cross paths. Where should they cross paths?
At the conclusion.
At the fucking payoff, bro.
Climax, yeah.
At the payoff, dude.
Unless it's not the payoff. I only say that because I think it feels like they've been setting that up, and I could be wrong. But based on what we saw here, I am taking it as EC3 is trying to bring out a side of Moose that he's been missing for a while, and we're going to see some kind of alliance actually come out of this versus them having a feud, which I'm not completely mad at. I want to see how it plays out, but I do think that there was money in building up the final showdown in front of an audience on pay-per-view. I think that would have been, well, I guess they are still doing it, but
well, they still have one more show. Yeah.
And that's the only thing I can think is, unless it's not the payoff, which could be the case here.
No, they have a match in 2 weeks. Like
having,
there's one more week of Impact, and then there's the pay-per-view that weekend when they're finally fighting. So for them to kind of do this now, it's a weird place to do it.
Yeah, and out on a bridge with bad lighting, like that opportunity was here to have EC3 standing there with the hoodie up with his back to him. Moose comes to the bridge, spins him around. It's EC3. It's not EC3. It's somebody that EC3's planted there. Moose hucks that fucker off the bridge. You know what I mean? We into the darkness. We don't see him land on a crash pad. He's flipping out. Fucking, there's another dude farther at the other end of the bridge. Turns around. He thinks that's EC3. Not him either. He fucks him over. Looks back the other way on the bridge. There's the real EC3. Give foot chase or whatever it is at that point and go off and have him. But whatever it is with this shopping at the fucking Old Navy clearance summer sale, that shit has got to end, bro. It's funny when you're a heel and you're wearing annoying shit for people to be like, look what he's wearing. When you're on the chase with the dude in a fucking blood feud, you can't be wearing pink fucking board shorts. And when you're a big, massive dude and we're supposed to believe that this is a badass thing. And then for him to get his hands on EC3 and leave him laying and walk off was weird, dude. Like the whole thing is EC3 evading and these messages popping up along those ways. And even EC3 didn't need to even be there. Take out one dummy, take out the other dummy, and then there's another projection, even in the woods. How are we getting a projector out here? I don't know. But
I was going to say, I mean, to play off that even further, this is not going to be for another 10 days or whatnot. And the match is supposed to take place in an undisclosed location. I would have liked to have rather seen, as you're kind of alluding to that, more of them.
Fake edge. It's fucking Ryder and Hawkins. Like, that's what I would have done. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, it's a Moose chasing EC3 into the forest, and now Moose is Rambo trying to get his fucking title back or something like that.
Bro, why not? Why not do something?
Then you can strip the stupid fucking shorts and everything, right? And you're covered in tree moss and crazy whatever.
Rambo, he pulls his short thing and he ties a pink fucking thing. Moose bow, and he's fucking all that. Exactly. You know, like it's time for the hunt, and he's fucking crazy. Whatever. Like, there's a lot of stuff we could have done, but
you drew first blood, not me.
Exactly. Fucking, we can bring in Brian Jack, do creature feature. It'll be great. But yeah, man, this was a mistake letting Moose beat down EC3 on the bridge. And if anything, he should have beat him down and thrown him off the fucking bridge. That's the only thing I really would have accepted for violence there, based on how nuts he's been making Moose go. He didn't really get a lot on him. And I thought he was going to, and I thought after EC3 was up on him and Moose comes to the retribution, I thought he was going to spear him on the fucking bridge. And I was going to go, oh, fuck, this is going to be a bad bump. But he didn't. He just glommed him and beat him down. But that would have been the shits if you had to take a spear on that old fucking wooden bridge, boy. Holy shit.
Yeah, I thought they were going to tease it somehow. I actually pictured, instead of necessarily, him having goons to come fight him, just because he has people that pop up. If there's a group of people wearing EC3 shirts just would have walked past, and Moose is trying to get through them, and then that's how EC3 is able to make his exit, and then we still not touched.
Sure.
Something like that. But it was interesting.
Could have been anything like that, but we shouldn't have had violence there.
Well, guys, that's it. That's another edition of your Impact Wrestling review on your Impact Attack. I did have one small little, I guess you might say, a good feel story to end the show with here. It's about the late, great Roddy Piper. This comes from indie professional wrestler Ethan HD. Shout out to him. He actually owns a comic book shop out in Tacoma. So if you're out in the area, go check out his comic book shop. But he shared a throwback to video when he had wrestled in the ill-fated Portland Wrestling Uncut. And he said the big selling point at the time was that Roddy Piper was involved, and it was supposed to be the evolution of the original Portland wrestling. Long story short, Piper was invested, the network was invested in it, but the promoter was a bumbling fuckface and screwed it up for everyone, to the point where Roddy Piper actually paid out of his own pocket because the promoter ran a taping and didn't tell the boys no one was getting paid until the end of the show. So I just wanted to share that nice little great story about how awesome of a man Roddy Piper was, that even in his latter years, when he's not even wrestling anymore, just hanging out in Portland, but he's invested into this product. He made sure that the boys were taken care of, and that the bumbling fuckface promoter was probably never heard from again. Or he became famous. Who knows? I don't know. Could be Tony Khan. I don't know.
Beef, go ahead.
I mean, it just speaks to, we don't have enough people like that in wrestling. Someone that's willing to go to the bat for the betterment of the entire locker room and for the betterment of really the business as a whole, making sure we're seeing the standard of how wrestlers deserve to be treated, just like they're valued members of a promotion or roster, and not as guys that, you can yank the proverbial chain around and have them do what you want and then not give them the proper payday, So kudos to Piper, and someone that I think set a great example of what it means to be a leader in not just the locker room, but in the business in general. And we definitely, I'd say we need more of that in wrestling.
A shitty scumbag promoter who tried to fuck over the boys.
Welcome to professional wrestling.
There he is. There he is.
Welcome to professional wrestling. Al Barone, baby.
Yeah,
dude. I got nothing but great things to say about Piper. He's the foundation fundamentals for Rip Rogers, along with Macho Man Randy Savage. So the knowledge that we think we're so fucking smart in saying on these shows is really nothing more than the trickle down from the Poffo family, Piper, Adrian Street, and some others that went funneled through Rip Rogers into the minds of Man Beast and myself. So my foundation, one of the cornerstones, is Piper style. And that Portland wrestling scene, we got a lot of love out there for the late, great Buddy Wayne. Obviously Shiloh, who we've talked about plenty, came from that side out there. So there's a big connection with our brothers in the Piper realm, in that Portland area. So thank you very much for sending that in. Say his comic book store again.
I don't know. I'm horrible here.
Oh, good, man. You come back to it. But
Destiny City Comics in Tacoma, Washington.
Destiny City Comics, friend of the show. If you're out there, Comic Book Wednesdays, you guys go hit them up. Let them know you heard about it on the Impact Attack, and talk some Piper stuff. Always good stories, man. You can go see my seg with them on my YouTube if you want to, but the most magical moment of my career up until this point, no doubt. So thank you for closing with that. I appreciate it, you guys.
Well, guys, of course, you can check out a litany of other podcasts here on this network, the Monday, the Wednesday, the Friday Locker Room. You can check out brand new episode of the New Force Order podcast. Will be out probably tomorrow or Friday, whenever the superstars send it over to me. And, of course, you can also check out my awesome podcast, Check My Bows, South Park Review. A shout-out to you guys, all the new listeners, and the R&R Pod Network, who is now syndicating our show. So we're just expanding our audience. Of course, we've got Ben Hamin, who will put you over and put you in front of the audience. But you, the listener, they're my tribal chief. While Ben Hamin gave us the great plug and we've been getting the downloads, you guys have been returning. So we appreciate you actually liking the content, because if it wasn't a good show, then you would just stop listening. So thanks, guys, for continuing to download it. And of course,
sure, you don't want to plead to the audience right here. Please don't turn my show off when I'm on there. Please stay and watch. It's necessary. You guys say you love South Park, but you turn it off. Why when we're on there? Like, no.
Yeah, you could do that. I'd be remiss if I didn't say the episode that you all just reviewed is one of my favorite episodes. The Corn's Groovy whatever thing. That's all right. There's plenty of good episodes. I want to join y'all for one of these, but I saw y'all reviewed that, and that's such a great episode where they pull the Hanna-Barbera ribs, and it's good.
See, and I don't like this episode. So if you want to hear my full thoughts on it, I don't like Scooby-Doo. I hated Scooby-Doo as a kid. Stupidest fucking cartoon of all time. Sorry. So that was my point. Now, I didn't go in hard on South Park. I just laid at the fact that I'm not a big Scooby-Doo fan. So that's why this is actually my bottom 5. So you listen to the whole review, and my bottom 5 of all time. I'm not a big fan of Scooby-Doo. So anyway, that being said, suck my bows. Go ahead, Dr. Ted.
Well, and speaking of podcasts, I finally got it up, you guys. It's the pilot episode. Now, I'm not calling it episode 1. It's the pilot episode because we got some kinks to work out.
You got it up there. It's up.
I learned that doing a podcast in a room with vaulted ceilings is not ideal, is really what I learned from this. But in part, we did it because that's where our big cabinet of Flickr was. We're like, oh, let's do it in front of the thing. We can film it, and eventually I'll probably get the video version up too. But it was just the audio, the echo just didn't work out. But I tried to render it as best I could, and I hope you all enjoyed. At the very least, listen to some history of Blanton's bourbon as we go through some different variants, and hopefully soon we'll have a chance to sit down and do the next one. We're either going to do Knob Creek, or might even switch it up and do some different beers. Although my good buddy K-Bob, who's was one of the ones that helped me with just give me feedback on it, just been really a big advocate for doing this podcast. Had mentioned that beers can be difficult because they're very regional, but I do feel like being in the Louisville, Kentucky area that we do kind of have a big craft beer scene. And while there certainly is a lot of local stuff, there's a lot of imported stuff from California and Michigan and from the Northeast. And so I do feel like we will get a decent representation here as far as some different beers to try. So anyway, long story short, check it out on HaminMediaGroup.podbean.com. It is Schmoozin' and Boozin', the pilot episode, as we go through and taste some Blanton's bourbon variants, and it's a lot of fun. So definitely check it out whenever you get a chance.
Awesome, man. Great stuff as always on Hamin Media Group with the affiliate stuff. Everybody's got their pet projects and just continuing to shine. So appreciate all that extra content, and I'm glad to see numbers going up. We knew it was going to take a little while when we started to do the split, but now we're starting to reap the rewards a little bit, right? And we're just going to keep that steady momentum going, making sure you guys have incredible free content from Hacker Hamin on your iTunes or Hamin Media Group on your iTunes. I know that's about 62% of our downloads. I know we plug Podbean because that's where the upload is, but we appreciate you leaving those 5-star ratings on the iTunes as well. That always helps us stay in the top rank there. So that's just great stuff. Great expansion everywhere. And on the 5-star, 6-star, star search, don't think you infidels are off the hook trying to come over the top on me with your little voting, trying to use democracy against the tyrant to push your little boar meets world because you want to get heat on me. Well, it'll be heels over strong, infidels, just like it always is at ProWrestlingTees.com. So I'll raise my hand high in the sky, and you don't want to tempt the one true God, Saladin bin Hamin, because it's been a long time, infidels, since I laid out some $5 face slaps. And keep testing me, and I will drop you to your infidel knees, and you beg for mercy and call me, you are my tribal chief, here on your Impact Attack, infidels. YOLO.
Running down this road that we call